Hello and welcome to episode 75 of the How to Survive podcast. This week we're talking about the recent film, it's only been out 2 weeks, it's Assassin's Creed. If you haven't seen it, you probably don't need to bother, it's pretty crap. You can listen to our recap of it instead in about 5 minutes time. Next week we're covering a movie from last year called Lights Out, which is a remake, or an adaptation I should say, of a short horror film from a few years back about a monster that gets you when the lights go out. It's available in all good DVD retailers, I'm sure. If you want to get in touch, the email address is howtosurviveshow@gmail.com, or you can reach us on Twitter anytime at HowToSurvivePod. And of course, if any of your friends seem like they'd be interested in this show, do share it with them, because the more, the merrier, as they say. So without further ado, let's take a leap of faith as we cover Assassin's Creed.
At 6 p.m. yesterday evening, you were executed and pronounced dead. You no longer exist.
What kind of prison is this?
It's not a prison. You're about to enter the Animus. What you're about to see, hear, and feel are the memories of your ancestor, who's been dead for 500 years.
What do you want from me?
Your past.
In 1918, Rutherford split the atom. In 1953, Watson and Crick discovered the double helix. In 2016, Ubisoft released the movie Assassin's Creed. To discuss the movie and its wider implications, joining me in the studio is senior video editor and host of the How to Survive podcast, Mr. Chris Morris. Good morning, Chris.
Hello.
Chris, why is Assassin's Creed popular?
Well, I think originally it's a video game series that's based on both a sort of science fiction and historical war context. Mm-hmm. I think the popularity of the game was based around a successful advertising campaign, the incorporation of parkour into the game's mechanics, a healthy spattering of violence, which, as we all know, is a key selling point to many a video game. And I would say that the high-end graphical fidelity, at least for the time, was another major selling point of the game and indeed of the franchise.
Do any of those points, in your opinion, carry over to a good film?
Well, having seen Assassin's Creed, the 2016 Justin Kurzel adaptation, I would say categorically not.
Right. Yet here we are, talking about it.
Here we are. It's episode 75 of the How to Survive podcast.
Yeah. A little under the weather still, are you?
I am, yeah. I'm a little bit hoarse.
Yeah.
Lots of horses in this film, though, Joe.
So obviously...
A lot of people were saying, I bet he won't be back next week. And I said, nay, I will be. I just came up with that off the hoof. Come on, let's get on with it. We've got to get over this hurdle.
Hey.
It's all right, I'm just jockeying with you. Oh, it's wonderful to be back. Hey, come on, let's get this started. I don't want to be here for long.
So the good news for the listeners is if Chris talks too much, he has a coughing fit.
Yeah.
So we'll try and keep this episode fairly brief, just for his larynx.
Thank you.
We're going to recap the film, Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Because
please do.
Because I'm going to assume it's bombed in the box office.
Well, as we said last week,
yeah.
We both saw it independently at the cinema.
Yeah.
I went in and was almost entirely alone. I think there were 3 other people in the cinema.
Right.
When I saw it.
I went a few days afterwards, and I was the only person.
Yeah, so those were the last 3 people who had seen it, other than us.
And this is in the first week of its release.
Yeah, it came out on New Year's Day.
Yeah,
I saw it on the 4th, maybe 5th.
I saw it on the 7th. So
yeah,
amazing. I
box office bonanza.
It can't be taking any money, but they'll make a second one anyway. You know they will.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so assuming our listeners haven't seen Assassin's Creed, because nobody has,
yeah,
I'll recap it for
other
you.
than us. Why did we do this film again?
I can tell you exactly why we did this film, Chris. Originally, we were going to do Martin Scorsese's Silence, which was deemed inappropriate because of its like historical realism, which we don't like to do, because it seems a bit inappropriate to give real people or people based on real people advice.
Yes.
So we're doing Assassin's Creed.
But Joe, this is a historical drama, isn't it?
I'm going to go on the plot and we can decide whether it is. And obviously, we're going to talk about the movie, the goods, not so many of them, and the bads. Yeah. Tune in for the next hour and you hear a lot of those. And then we'll talk about how we'd survive if we found ourselves living in the world of Assassin's Creed. God forbid that would ever happen. Yes. Our story begins with a screen of text explaining the backstory of the movie you're about to watch. Breaking the show don't tell rule in 1 second. Great. Yeah. The text explains that an ancient group called the Knights Templar have long sought an artifact known as the Apple of Eden, which contains the genetic code to free will. Yes, that's right. Yeah. That is a thing. That's fine. Yeah. The only people who can stop the Knights Templar from getting it are a group called the Brotherhood of Assassins. Do you know what annoys me about this already? It's that they're trying to make it sort of sciencey by saying, it's the genetic code to free will. Yeah. But it's like that is such total fantasy anyway. Yeah. You might as well just have it like, magic it's spell. Just fucking magic, like it's black magic or whatever. Like the people guarding it back then wouldn't have known what genetic code is anyway. Okay, you're getting ahead of yourself. Right, these are my key notes for discussion. Okay, sorry. so to recap that part, Knights Templar versus Brotherhood of Assassins, Apple of Eden, genetic code to free will. In the next scene, we're introduced to the Brotherhood of Assassins, Chris, in Spain during the Spanish Inquisition. Through a few minutes of po-faced dialogue, the head assassin explains to the rest of the group that an ancient group called the Knights Templar have long sought an artifact known as the Apple of Eden, which contains the genetic code to free will. The only people who can stop them from getting it are a group called the Brotherhood of Assassins, which is this group, the group who are talking now. Yes. The assassin charged with preventing the apple falling into the wrong hands is Michael Fassbender with a tattoo on his face. Yes. And that's when our story really begins. In 1980... a young boy on a rooftop on a BMX is trying to jump a gap, and he fails to do that, doesn't he? He does, yeah. It hits his face, doesn't he? Yeah, yeah. And then he rides that bike home to his house, and that's when he finds his mother has been murdered, and his father is standing next to her body wearing a ceremonial robe, which we recognise because we've seen the opening. He's an assassin. Yeah, he's an assassin. Yeah. What he's done there, Joe, is assassinate the mother. The mother. Obviously, the boy's confused, but his father helpfully explains, your blood is not your own. They have found us, live in the shadows. And then the boy takes that to mean run away. So he does. Yeah. And paramilitary forces descend on the house, but they're unable to capture the boy because he does some parkour. Yes. It's not even really parkour, is it? He jumps a gap. Yeah. Then rolls. It should be said as well that because he's genetically related to an assassin, he wears a hoodie with the hood up. Yeah. At all times. Because that's what assassins do. Oh, of course they do. Anyway, the boy escapes thanks to a bit of parkour. Yeah. And that's when our story really begins. Yeah. 30 years later, Cal Lynch, played by Michael Fassbender, is in prison. He's in prison and he's being read his last rites by a priest because he's about to be executed. And then he is executed by lethal injection for the crime of capital homicide. As he dies, he sees a woman watching him from the gallery. He then wakes up, and the same woman is there. She reveals that her name is Sophia Ricken, and that Cal was indeed killed, but he is now here at a research facility. Cal is having none of it, and drags his limp body through the facility until he reaches a high ledge, and it becomes apparent that he's in Madrid. He's then tranquilized by a guard. When he wakes up, Cal is forced into a machine called the Animus, which allows the subject to experience the memories of their ancestors in real time. The machine has a giant arm which attaches to the subject's body, allowing them to move around freely in both the real world and in the memory. Cal takes on the role of his ancestor, Aguilar, the assassin we saw in the film's introduction. Yes. Its second introduction, I should say. Yeah. Aguilar and his partner Maria have been deployed to rescue Prince Ahmed de Granada, who has been kidnapped by the Knights Templar. Apparently the child's father has the Apple of Eden, and that's the ransom placed on the boy's head. Maria steals a cart with the prince in the back, in a cage, and rides like the wind. A chase ensues, ending with Aguilar hanging over the side of a cliff, holding onto Prince Ahmed de Granada, and at that point Sophia pulls Cal out of the machine. Back in the facility, Cal is introduced to a group of people who are also all descendants of assassins. One man named Musa befriends Cal and stands up for him when the others ask things like, how do we know this guy won't betray us? Sophia and Cal grow close, with Sophia revealing that, like Cal, her mother was murdered by an assassin too. She also reveals that her father, Alan Rickin, is the owner of the facility.
Yeah.
Alan Rickin tries to convince his daughter to put Cal back in the Animus so they can get to the bottom of where the Apple of Eden is.
Yeah.
Sophia warns her father that this may harm Cal's well-being, but he's having none of it. And he goes to visit a group called the Elders, which makes him feel a little bit more urgently about the issue. So he goes back to the facility and he takes Cal to see a man who's in the facility as well. And it's Cal's father.
Yeah.
He's there. And he says to Cal...
Because literally everyone who is an assassin
is
within this building.
His father tells him, your blood is not your own, again.
Yeah.
And then he says, oh, Cal, your mum was also an assassin, and she chose to die rather than be put through the torture of the Animus.
Yeah, which apparently existed 30 years ago.
Yeah, and apparently tortures people, if that doesn't seem that bad to me, having seen the film.
Well, you do see all the people who have been in there too long, and they're like, sort of, like
shadows of
dementia, sort of suffering, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Cal's father tells him, don't go in the Animus. Whatever you do, don't go in the Animus.
Yeah.
And the next scene, Cal willingly goes back in the Animus.
Yeah.
This time, Aguila and Maria have been captured and are being executed. Luckily, something called the bleeding effect means that Cal's memories have merged with his ancestor Aguilar's, and now Cal knows martial arts and parkour. As such, Aguilar and Maria are able to escape. Up to this point, Sophia has stated that she wants to find the Apple of Eden so that she can rid the world of violence by taking away everyone's free will.
Yeah.
Now she's beginning to realise that her father may want to take away people's free will for evil reasons. Back in the Animus again, Aguilar and Maria ambush the group of Templars who are escaping with the Apple of Eden.
This really is just like, it's just impenetrable, isn't it?
Yeah. So they kill the Templars who've got the Apple of Eden.
Yeah.
And they give the apple to Christopher Columbus, Chris.
Yeah.
Christopher Columbus,
Yeah.
the explorer, who says that he will take it to his grave with him.
Yeah.
And that means that the Apple of Eden is in Christopher Columbus's grave.
The whole time in Seville Cathedral. Will they all rush to Seville Cathedral to try and get there first? No, they won't, Joe.
Christopher Columbus, Chris, wasn't it, all along? He's been in the film loads, isn't he? He's been mentioned.
Yeah. Oh, it could be literally anyone, couldn't it? It could be like, oh, look, who is Aguilar talking to? Oh, it's Leonardo da Vinci. Oh, it's Blackbeard.
You say that.
Oh, it's like...
Leonardo da Vinci was the original plan.
Was
played
it?
by Robert Downey Jr.
Of course it was.
Musa rallies the other assassins' descendants, and they cause a riot in the facility.
Yeah.
During the chaos, Alan and Sophia Rickin escape by helicopter. They go first to the tomb of Columbus to retrieve the Apple of Eden, then to the headquarters of the Knights Templar in London, where Alan Rickin is getting ready to deliver a speech announcing that he has the Apple of Eden. His daughter approaches him to tell him that she doesn't like the speech he has written, and that she thinks it is not his best. A 5-minute scene ensues where they discuss the speech.
Yeah.
He asks her to provide a line for him to use in the speech, and she says, why don't you use, I am become death, the destroyer of worlds?
Which is, of course, a quote from the creator of the nuclear bomb.
Robert Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Which is also from Hindu mythology about, a guy who destroyed... I think it was a guy... Some guy destroyed worlds.
Somebody who destroyed worlds.
Yeah. And it's been repurposed by Robert Oppenheimer, who did destroy worlds, and now Sophia Rickin, who has the Apple of Eden.
Who has destroyed free will, possibly.
But possibly not. Alan gives his speech showing off the apple, which he turns on somehow, and it shoots lasers around the room.
Yeah.
Cal arrives dressed in full assassin's robes. Where did he get those? And Sophia stops him before he can go in to kill her father, and then she decides to let him go in and kill her father. He goes in and kills her father, then takes the Apple of Eden. Yeah. Sophia goes into the room where Cal killed her father, and looking at his body, she says, I did this. She then vows to get revenge on Cal for killing her father, even though she just let him kill her father.
Yeah.
And then Cal jumps off a building, and that's the film. That's the whole film.
Yeah.
Why did we sit through that film? I had to call you when I came out of the film.
Yeah.
Because I was like...
It's not often that
upset.
You actually phone me.
No. You said that with some trepidation.
Well, no. It's more like, you know, we're in constant dialogue, obviously, about the podcast.
Yeah. The media empire we're building.
Yeah, exactly. But most of it's text based, and then it's not often that you feel so strongly about something that you have to communicate it in voice. But this was one of those moments. You came out of your 9:30 a.m. screening of Assassin's Creed, which you'd got up on a Saturday morning to go and watch.
Yeah.
This is the sort of thing that we put ourselves through.
Yeah.
And you said that was the biggest waste of time you ever had in your life, or words to that effect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the record saying Nightmare on Elm Street remake is among the worst films. Independence Day Resurgence among the worst films. I don't think this is that bad because it's not got enough. It's just nothing. It's just nothing.
I think what I would say is that it is obviously a bad film. It's not a good film at all. The historical action scenes, the three scenes. There's the horse and cart chase, which is all right. I thought the escape from execution was excellent. Yeah. Just really good, well directed action, entertaining, engaging stuff. And then when they steal back the apple as it's being handed over. So the three Aguilar scenes, basically.
I see what you mean.
Those were good. And the rest of the film was just searingly boring.
I feel slightly differently.
Okay.
I feel like I quite like the stuff in the facility.
Really?
Here's what I liked. Scenes between Michael Fassbender and Marion Cotillard.
Okay.
Because they're both excellent.
They are fine actors.
The problem is the script is
it's diabolical. It's absolutely dreadful.
It's nonsense.
Yeah.
It's an hour and a half of nonsense. And then Jeremy Irons, what's he doing?
Yeah. Charlotte Rampling as well.
What are they up to? I'll tell you a point that there's a bit more going on when it's, say, in the Animus, in the Spanish scenes. But the problem with that is everything that happens in there is cut like a trailer. It's just frenetic, like a music video or something. And
I didn't find that personally.
And if it was just one open played out scene of a fight, say The Raid or Drafted Tiger Hidden Dragon, any good
well directed action,
fighting film, Matrix.
I thought it was all right. I thought the editing and direction of those scenes was quite good. I thought that the problem, as is the problem with any sort of science fiction that's set in a purposefully bland, grey, sub Apple store, granite concrete interior, is that all of the scenes in the Abstergo facility where they have the Animus and all the assassins, they were just incredibly boring. I just thought they were boring visually. I the stuff with the the dialogue and things that you claim to have enjoyed. I just thought it was
no, I enjoyed the acting. I didn't enjoy the dialogue.
But it's like watching. My opinion is that it's almost like these actors are too good for this film.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they are too good, but it's in they take it so seriously that it's completely humorless the whole way through. It's like watching
po-face, isn't it?
It's like watching Jeremy Irons read out a fucking pantomime script, but do it so earnestly. It's there's that quiz show on Channel 4 every year where they get Charles Dance to read out a celebrity autobiography, right. And it's Kerry Katona, but it's Charles Dance going, my knickers were riding right up my arse, and I staggered out of the limo. I couldn't believe it. The paparazzi was there trying to take a photo of my skirt, and it's the joke is that it's Charles Dance reading something
just silly.
Yeah, exactly, but in a really Shakespearean manner.
Yeah.
And that's what this film was to me. It was just those scenes with Jeremy Irons and Charlotte Rampling, or Michael Fassbender and Marion Cotillard. They're speaking with so much, or so earnestly about we need to get the apple of Eden. Yeah. It's this is nonsense.
It is possible to do a film that is set in that sort of Spanish environment.
Yeah.
And make it quite fun. because it's like morbid. The whole thing's like sad and depressing, but not like enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like say like Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Say what you want about the sequels. The first film was good. It was quite fun. It
has a spirit. It has
it has mild peril. It has enjoyable action scenes, and it has humor.
That is the sort of pitch that I like in terms of tone.
Yeah,
that I wish they had fucking gone for.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Instead, you got this like horrible
charmless
face. Exactly. Like there you go, charmless.
I mentioned I was alone in this screening, Chris. So basically, I had the better part of 2 hours to just think about what was wrong with the film. And here's my list of reasons that it's impossible to connect with anything that happens in the film.
Okay.
Michael Fassbender's character is entirely unlikable, has no charm, no personality, and the only backstory that we have for him is that he was in a gang and is a murderer.
Yeah, well, a pimp mugged him and he killed him.
Well.
That gives you the death penalty nowadays.
Boring.
Yeah.
Marion Cotillard's character's motivations dissolve on contact with fresh air.
Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind would believe that taking away free will is a good thing in any situation.
Yeah.
And yet we're meant to see her as both in her right mind and sympathetic.
Yeah, I agree.
Marion Cotillard's constantly changing opinion about whether or not her father is evil is more confusing than the frenetically edited fight scenes. Jeremy Irons' character is an English man with white hair in a suit who spends most of the movie watching things from the shadows.
Yeah.
Do you think he might be evil?
Yeah.
Probably.
He's got an English accent. His daughter has a French accent.
Well, she went to the international school.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Michael K. Williams' character is the same character he's played in everything he's been in since The Wire.
Yeah.
He isn't likeable, has no charm, and his COD philosophy he keeps spouting is just irritating because it's so boring.
Yeah, and there are no other side characters on the good team.
The relationship between Michael Fassbender and his father is completely mundane because aside from Fassbender shouting, "Tell my father to kiss my ass!" We get no feeling that his father's actions have had any effect on him for his whole life.
Yeah, like like Brendan Gleeson being in it. Yeah. Like just popping up as his dad, like his old dad. Like that felt like a reshoot, didn't it? It was like here's a scene that we've had to add in. That was part of the original casting. Like he was in it from the start.
Brendan Gleeson?
Yeah.
But like a scene with him just like stood next to a window talking.
Yeah. That was really bizarre. Like
it's
you
boring.
could literally cut all of that out.
So boring.
All of the stuff with his dad. Because it does nothing.
No, it changes absolutely nothing about the film.
Yeah.
Finally, we're asked from the first few seconds of the film to believe that there is a genetic code for free will.
Yeah.
That was known at least 550 years before the human genome was dragged.
Yeah.
And that the Knights Templar not only understood genetics, but also had a system to make use of it.
Yeah, of course. Which is opening the apple and then shooting lasers everywhere.
Well, we assume. We don't know how that works. The only character that I did enjoy watching was Maria.
Yeah.
Because she actually had like some peril. She had some involvement in the film, and she had a relationship with another character, which you actually cared about.
And also she has like a sort of moral compass that she
lives by.
Yeah, and dies by.
Yeah.
Yeah, she like kills herself
to save the Apple of Eden. Great.
Yeah.
It's stinky, but like that's the only redeeming quality for me. It really is.
Yeah.
Like
I've got a question for you, Joe. Who is this film for? Okay, because here's my issue, right? I don't think it's for fans of the video game, and I'll tell you why. They're well documented in their loathing of the series, like modern day or like sci-fi stuff, which makes up 2/3 of this film. Right. Yeah. So if you're pitching it to the video game audience, you'd be like, well, let's like thin out those elements. I don't think it's for a general audience because no one has gone to see it, and even though it's widely advertised, I don't think it has any general appeal.
No. There's nothing.
No, it's not for sci-fi fans because there's nothing there for them. Like the modern day stuff is all advertised to be secondary to the historical stuff. If you see any of the posters, it's all Aquila, like diving off the building. Yeah, all
and
those
the Spanish Inquisition, the fighting.
Yeah,
which is like one skirmish that they filmed for like 1 second just to get in the trailer. I think.
Yeah, and then so if you're a sci-fi fan, the film's not pitched to you. So even if you go and see it, I mean, even if you went to see it and there is more sci-fi in it than you'd realised it's all bland, like grey, rubbish sci-fi anyway. And I don't think it's for historical fans either, because there's not enough. Because there's only 3 action scenes.
Christopher Columbus is in it, Chris.
There's 3 action scenes which are given no historical context other than assassins and Templars have always existed and always been fighting, and that's just all the way. That's what it's always been like.
Yeah.
Right. Other than that, there's no historical context whatsoever to it. It could be literally anywhere, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Like it could be any time period where there's 2 warring factions, because. In fact, it doesn't even need to be that, because you could just have the Templars and the Assassins fighting and not have, like, the shroud of it being, like, whatever it is in the Spanish
Inquisition.
Yeah.
There's Crusaders.
The Crusades and the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah.
That does not factor into it
at all
whatsoever.
No, it's just so they can put it in the trailer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So who is this film for? I can't work out who this film is for.
Teenage boys.
Like, yeah, but it's not... It's like 2 hours long, and most of it is really pedestrian, like Shakespearean acting. It's bizarre. It's one of the strangest, like, mainstream movie releases that I can remember for years and years.
Yes,
it's really odd.
But then the executive producer on this was Michael Fassbender. He was the first that was selected by Ubisoft.
Yeah,
and he said he basically picked the director,
right,
and he picked the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
And he obviously picked the people who did Macbeth with him the year before.
Yeah.
Right, which is fine, because that was an excellent film.
Right.
Well chosen, Fassbender.
Yeah.
Problem is, he was then given like full creative control over the script.
But then, like, you're literally going from making a film but with a script based on Shakespeare
to a film about a video game.
Yeah, exactly. So what is it about video game adaptations?
I'm glad you asked, Chris. It's been a few weeks now since our last quiz. We do a lot of quizzes on this, this podcast.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, let's play my video game adaptation Rotten Tomatoes aggregated score comparer game quiz.
Okay, catchy title.
Question 1. What got the higher rating on Rotten Tomatoes?
Mm-hmm.
Lara Croft Tomb Raider from 2001 or World of Warcraft from 2016?
I would say Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
Nope. That got 20%. Lara Croft 20%. World of Warcraft 28%.
Oh.
Question 2. Street Fighter 1994 versus Mortal Kombat Annihilation 1997.
Annihilation's the second one, isn't it?
Third, I think.
Street Fighter?
Street Fighter's right. That got 15%. Compared with Mortal Kombat's 3%.
Oh my goodness.
So that's one for you.
Right.
Super Mario Brothers 1993 versus Alone in the Dark 2005.
Super Mario Brothers?
Yep. Alone in the Dark got 1%.
Oh my Christ.
Super Mario got 15%.
Okay.
Number 4, Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within from 2001 or Silent Hill from 2006?
Silent Hill, surely.
No, it was Final Fantasy: Spirits Within. Silent Hill got 29%, Final Fantasy got 44%.
Alright, fair enough.
Number 5, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time from 2010
or
Resident Evil from 2002?
Resident Evil?
No, it's Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time.
God.
36% for Prince of Persia, 34% for Resident Evil.
Ooh.
Very close.
Oh, that was very close.
Close contest. Number 6, House of the Dead 2003 or Doom 2005?
Doom?
Yes.
Yeah, because House of the Dead is notoriously really terrible.
It's a 3%er. Doom's 19%, so not that much better.
My God.
So number 7, Need for Speed, the Aaron Paul 2014 movie, or Ratchet and Clank, which was an animated movie from last year, 2016.
Need for Speed?
It was Need for Speed. 23% for Need for Speed, 17% for Ratchet and Clank.
It's funny because, like, trying to work these out, I'm thinking, like, they didn't look so bad, and they're still getting like 19%.
Last one then. My favourite video game.
Okay.
You know what that is?
My Little Pony.
Yeah, My Little Pony. Yeah. No, of course it's Tekken.
Oh yeah, they made a Tekken movie.
There's two movies, an animated one and a real one. This is the real life one, the live action Tekken from 2009, up against Max Payne from 2008.
Oh,
which is the Marky Mark one.
It's got to be Marky Mark's Max Payne.
Yes, Marky Mark's Max Payne 16%. Tekken no rating.
Wow. Okay. You'll be rushing out to see that then.
Yeah, so he did quite well.
Yeah.
The highest scorer on the list, and this is the highest score for any video game adaptation I could find,
Right.
was Final Fantasy.
Right.
44% is the best any.
What about
video
live
game.
action? So like discount apart from that, what would it be?
Prince of Persia 36.
Wow.
It does seem you can't
scraping the barrel.
No, you can't make a video game into a movie. You can't. do
No.
it.
So what is Assassin's Creed on Rotten Tomatoes?
17%,
17%.
which means it's better than Street Fighter from 1994.
Yeah.
But it's not as good as Doom from 2005. It sits somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Well, I think
It's as good as Ratchet and Clank.
wow. I think the problem with like video game movies generally is that they try and like evoke specific moments from the game, but like obviously like video games are such a different medium.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like that, you know, it's an experiential medium rather than a just a passive one, and like they end up trying to do like these things that to me feel like what an middle-aged executive has decided is like cool in inverted commas. So it's things like Resident Evil when she kicks the dog in slow motion,
Right. Yeah.
because she has superpowers.
The problem with Resident Evil though is, like, say like the laser thing. At the end.
Yeah.
There's a famous scene where
Exactly. Yeah.
the guy gets like cut into pieces by like a laser lattice,
Yeah.
and it's like a gory scene. There's nothing like that in any of the games.
No, but then like that's not necessarily that on its own isn't a bad thing, but it sort of like just makes no attempt to capture the tone, I think.
Yeah.
And like with Resident Evil, that is the thing that you take away from it if you play the game.
Yeah.
Is that its tone is like really strong.
It was the first game to be like feel like it was directed.
Yeah, because of the fixed camera angles and stuff.
Exactly.
And like so it's a scary game, and they turn it into an action movie. I think like from what I've seen, I think I've seen the first Silent Hill movie, and that is quite sort of horror.
It's spooky, isn't it?
Yeah, and like there are some, because the Silent Hill movies are so focused on like sort of uncanny design of stuff. Like it gets those sorts of elements right. There are a lot of monsters and things in it.
Yeah, no,
that are
the
really
weird
horrible.
like air raid siren and stuff.
Yeah, and like there's a spider made out of like mannequin parts and things. Like all those things, they're really like creepy, and they feel like something that you'd get in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in Resident Evil, where she's like flying kicking the dog, where in the game it's like if you find a fucking dog, you're like, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna die, and she's like backflipping off the walls and stuff. It's just like
no character in a Resident Evil video game's ever done a backflip.
Yeah, exactly.
Any of those other movie games you think it would stand up?
I used to like the first Tomb Raider movie.
Yeah, but that's because you were 12.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Angelina Jolie's fit.
Well, I don't think it was. I think they're like very perfunctory action movies. Like they're rubbish. To like now, you'd watch them and you'd be like, "Oh, this is dreadful." When you're 12 years old, they're all right, and like there's some good, relatively decent action in it and all that sort of thing.
Problem is, all the like having Lara Croft talking to people and having a backstory. Yeah. This is probably like between Tomb Raider, Angel of Darkness,
right,
and Tomb Raider Chronicles, like maybe around that time. So the backstory thing isn't fleshed out.
Yeah,
like she's just a woman in a cave.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. I think now video games generally are sort of getting a lot more sophisticated in the way that they deal with stories and things like that.
But that also means they don't need a movie. Like if they made a Last of Us movie, it wouldn't make sense because the story has been told through that particular medium.
Exactly, and The Last of Us is a very good example because there are certain moments in that game which are like they can only be told through that medium.
Because you're vested into it because you are that character.
Exactly, yeah. Like I mean, like you could. I'm sure people. The Last of Us is one of those things where, which by the way, if people don't know what The Last of Us is, it's a sort of
post-apocalyptic survival game.
Yeah, like
you take on the role of a man and you have to protect this young girl.
Yeah, and like that's the sort of thing where you're playing it and you're thinking, like this would make the best like HBO miniseries
Yeah.
or whatever. But like in actual fact, like you wouldn't benefit from having it play out on a TV
No.
rather than just playing it. Like it's a fantastic work of art in its own right, and a fantastic work of storytelling. And you're right in that even though now, as I say, like video game storytelling is much more sophisticated, like compared to when Tomb Raider films came out or whatever, and like by that nature they've become much more cinematic. It also reduces the need for them to be made into films anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Do you know what I would not be surprised by?
go on.
A COD movie, Call of Duty.
Yeah, but then like
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm advocating.
no, of course,
Yeah.
no. But I just think that Call of Duty is probably one of those things that I don't think anyone plays it for the story, do they? Like teenagers buy it so that they can
shoot
their mates.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's no reason they won't. I mean, there's
I
money
guess
to be
not,
made
yeah.
there.
I mean, there's loads of films that have come out which are called things like, you know, Duty Calls or
Yeah.
Call of Honor or, you know, whatever. And yeah.
Who owns this Call of Duty? EA.
No, it's Activision, I think.
Do they do any movies? Do you know?
No, I think Ubisoft are like the forerunners in terms of.
But they've only done one. This is the first.
Well, I know, yeah,
Yeah.
but they're trust me, the floodgates are going to open. I think. For
I
better or
can't. I
worse.
can't believe there's more money in movies than there is in games, though.
There isn't. Like the video game industry is larger than the film industry, I think.
Yeah.
Like certainly in terms of like sales.
Yeah.
So
You think many people like?
I think
if
it
you
was
made
like
a FIFA movie, for argument's sake, and it was a really
Yeah.
good movie,
Yeah.
more people would buy the game and pay more for it.
Yeah, well, like you think, yeah, exactly. A game, you pay 40 quid
Mm.
upwards now, potentially, for it. Like I'm pretty sure a couple of years ago, I was reading that the video game industry is like only behind like pharmaceuticals and like military equipment
Yeah.
and like aviation, and so like something like ridiculous like
I
that.
don't know, Farmville, the
Yeah, exactly.
game,
Well, like
was
you-
worth
when-
more than BA.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you think that, you know, the new Grand Theft Auto comes out and like 80 million people buy it, and that's 80 million times 50 quid. Like it's
not bad.
obscene, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess the moral of the story there is don't make your game into a movie.
Yeah.
Just make another game.
Yeah.
Here's a few more problems I had with it. I'll just bang them out. Quickfire.
All right.
The cringy pseudo-archaic language.
Right.
Things like, yes, mentor, or I must speak with the elders. And no one would ever speak like that.
Yeah.
The now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't work because we don't know what the, like...
The power of the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
taking
true.
people's free will doesn't necessarily mean you're killing them. It's just... And
Yeah.
no one's died up to that point.
Yeah.
So, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Wasn't
Robert Oppenheimer watching the mushroom cloud
as he said
when
yeah.
he said it?
Yeah. It's very risky having your main character shout "What the fuck is happening" in a movie as
Yeah.
chaotic as this.
Confusing as
Yeah.
this, yeah. Classic.
Apparently, half an hour, Chris, was edited out of the original running time,
Yeah.
and I think it suffered badly from that. One example I picked out while watching it was when Michael K. Williams' character comes over the
Yeah.
first time and he sits down with him in the cafeteria.
Mhm.
He's got like these like like cup game where you like hide a marble,
Yeah.
like 3 cups. He's got those in his hand, and he sits down and they talk, and then he stands up and he's like moved, and he walks away as if he's made like a profound point.
Right.
So I feel like he gave
You
some
just
sort
cut
of
the scene.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear.
In the end he just mutters some schoolboy philosophy and walks away.
Yeah.
And on that note, here's some themes that were pretty clear cut for me in the movie but went completely unexplored.
Okay.
Right? So they could have gone with a weak coward learns how to stand up for himself and becomes a fighter for a good cause.
Yeah.
Instead they went with a violent man uses violence to spread violence,
Yeah.
which is not interesting. They could have gone with a man who grew up hating his father realises that it was a misunderstanding and they are able to have a reconciliation.
Yeah.
Instead we have a man grew up hating his father and he has one conversation with him and then still hates him.
Yeah. And then his father dies.
We could have had the accidental villain who's been manipulated by her father but now realises the error of her ways.
Yeah.
Instead we get an accidental villain who has been manipulated by her father and sees the error of her ways and then doesn't see the error of her ways and then sees the error of her ways and then doesn't see the error of her ways.
Well, the interesting thing with her character is that there's the scene where Callum's ancestors appear in a sort of circle in the Animus. And like everyone can see what's happening in the Animus. And as that's happening, she, I think, appears to see her ancestor there as well as an assassin. And so that's obviously setting it up for a sequel where she's going to do a volte-face and, become an assassin.
Look forward to that.
Yep.
We could have had a supporting cast of charismatic and interesting characters
Yeah.
who we care about and we want to succeed.
Well, maybe that's what got cut from the half hour that's missing from the film.
Well,
is
the character development.
backstory. Yeah.
What we end up with, Chris, of course, is a mixture of an AA meeting and an adult A-level philosophy class.
Yeah. One of them looks about 15 as well.
Yes, he does. He dies promptly.
Yeah.
We could have had an executed convict getting another chance at a better life and a chance to channel his rage into something bigger than himself.
Yeah.
Instead, we get an executed convict who beats up a load of people, then kills someone, then jumps around on some roofs.
Yeah. He's given an outlet, like an excuse to murder people, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the feeling we get throughout the film is that he wants to get out of the facility,
Yeah.
not that he wants redemption.
Yeah.
Very strange. Finally, the artifact that everyone seeks could have turned out to be in a place of like significance to the characters, or to the storyline, or to what we understand. Instead, it's just Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. It's fine because he's a famous old person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Almost want to end it there, but we won't. We'll do How to Survive in this film. So, Chris, if I was to take your body away after you've been executed, and wake you up somehow, and put you in a machine that was able to transport you back to the memories of your ancestors, with no actual threat to your life at any point, how would you survive anyway?
Well, I'm glad you asked because, as you said, they do the faux execution and then they take him away to Madrid, which is where his ancestor was, firing about, wasn't he?
Right, Aguilar.
Aguilar, yeah. That was where that all took place. So they go to the giant Abstergo facility in Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that just for Lynch? Like, as in, have they just gone there because of Lynch's ancestry?
Well, I guess it was the last place that the apple was seen.
So why are all the other assassins there?
Because they were all based there as well.
Why were they based there? If they took Lynch there because Madrid was the last place the apple was seen, and it's like local. I presume they're there because it's like if they go, oh, he hid it under this, brick in this building in Madrid, then we can go there now and get it. So why are all the other assassins there?
Maybe, okay, here's my defense of it. I don't know why I'm defending it.
Right.
Maybe it's like a chain of events. So the first assassin they got was like, oh, okay, I passed on the information to this guy.
Right.
And then he passed on the information to this guy.
Okay.
And it's trading up the chain until you get to the Lynch family.
But
ancestor.
were all of their ancestors doing that in Madrid then? Like, because the guy...
You could build
the black
a facility just because it's...
You got the Chinese woman and her ancestor, it appears, based on her, like, the way she fights and everything, is sort of like ancient Chinese martial arts. Yeah. You got Baptiste, is it? And he's got
Musa,
Musa. He's got sort of smoke bombs, chemicals, things like that, which again suggests a sort of Chinese origin, maybe like Afro-Caribbean piracy, something like that. Then you got the kid who fights with a like a rapier, which suggests like French ancestry, right? Mm-hmm. So France, Afro-Caribbean, Chinese, they're all in Spain for some reason.
You can kidnap people and take them there.
Yeah, but why take them to Spain? Right,
because the facility is.
What? So they've only got one Abstergo facility in the whole world.
That's what it would appear. Yeah,
right.
It seems all their staff.
So it's just a coincidence that it's in the place that Callum Lynch's ancestry just happens to be based.
Is that impossible?
Well, it's not impossible, but it's improbable. But I get the impression that with whatever it was, their budget of 3 billion or 300 billion a year, or whatever, that Abstergo would have more than one facility around the world. I don't think that's ridiculous.
It does seem to be the biggest building that was ever built.
Exactly, yeah. Basically, why do they keep all of the assassins in the same place? where they can like freely mingle, right? In the same building where they're keeping all of their ancestors' weaponry, which they are inadvertently training all of these individuals to use every day whenever they put them into the animus, and they're well aware of this because they're going, "Oh, it's the bleeding effect." What will happen is that if you use this cutlass in the animus all the time,
you're certainly going to use it in real life.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be able to use this cutlass. This cutlass that is 6 foot over there in this glass cabinet. You're going to be really good at killing people with that cutlass that's in that glass cabinet over there. Musa, you see those smoke bombs in that like chest over there? You're going to be so good at killing people with those, you won't believe it.
Just don't use them, please.
Just please don't ever use them on us. I can't imagine that would ever be something that would happen. I can't imagine that by grouping all of these individuals together, who are the ancestors of our most feared enemies, and training them up and giving them every reason to hate us, and giving them access to all their preferred choice of weaponry, I can't imagine that this would ever backfire, like, at all. How could that possibly happen? Basically, I think there's somewhat of a lack of foresight going on in the Abstergo hierarchy. That means that they've grouped all of their most dangerous individuals together, allowed them to roam semi-freely within this facility, and then allowed them access to all of their preferred methods of killing people.
Yeah, it seems to be that the security guard probably wasn't...
There's that one grumpy French security guard who's like, I do not trust these people. And it's like...
Yeah, well, do you know why they were called assassins? It's because they were called hash assassins before that, and they smoked hash.
Yeah, whatever it is, They were dirt, they were rats or whatever,
And you're not good enough to lace their boots.
Yeah. Like, all I'm saying is that it seems like that was a lack of prudence in terms of grouping all of these people together and giving them every opportunity
to overpower you and take back control.
And like training them up in order to do it as well.
Yeah.
It seems like a terrible idea.
It's certainly that. It's a shit film.
So my suggestion for How to Survive is that just don't group all of these individuals together in a place where they are 100% going to eventually escape and murder you all.
Yeah. Well, we can't argue with that, mate.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll tell the elders.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this is in the prison. This is in the prison, as if like they care about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
so get that.
They suddenly become moral about forcing these people to do things.
It's bizarre.
Okay.
So yeah, pass that message on up to the elders, will you?
Yeah. Here's my first one, Chris.
Sure.
My first idea on how to survive. What's the first rule of the assassins, if you think back?
Was it is something like live in the no. Nothing is true, everything is permitted, or whatever it is.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Nothing is true, everything is permitted. There are no laws, basically.
Right.
All right. Keep that in mind when I say this next part. So he goes into the Knights Templar building with the Knights Templar logo on it at the end.
Yeah.
And he kills Jeremy Irons' character, Alan Rickon. Why doesn't he just kill Sophia on his way in? Just stab her in the head.
Because they've built up a rapport, Joe, in all those dialogue scenes that you're so fond of.
I don't buy that, because I think he's fully taken on the role of Aguilar. And he would have killed Sophia.
Clearly he wouldn't have done, because he didn't do that. But, I mean, like, what... I suppose if you're looking for survival, then you have to weigh up the options in that someone could find her body. And
5 seconds later, he's achieved his goal.
Yeah, which he does by just, like, walking through the crowd.
Yeah.
It's lax security measure. Like, these... I think the Templars, they've got a bit of an arrogance going on.
He walks in through the front door.
In assassin garb.
Yeah. And there's no bouncer there going, excuse me.
Yeah. That squinty Frenchman, he is there. He's just, like, not worried about it. Oh, everyone stood still apart from that one man in hooded robes who's advancing menacingly towards towards our most valuable individual. I should probably just ignore that.
But he goes up behind him in the end. He enters through the front door in eye line of the person speaking.
Yeah.
Then somehow manages to get around the back of him to slit his throat.
Very strange.
It's almost like it's a badly made film.
Yeah, it's very weird. That whole ending, like the last 10 minutes, is just bizarre.
That must be the reshoots, right? To make a sequel.
Maybe, yeah. Who watched this and went, better do some reshoots to make a sequel? Oh, God.
Because if it ended with Marion Cotillard going, "Oh, I'm glad my dad's dead.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go on my life and now and be a good person." That would be somewhat like okay.
That would be a character arc or whatever.
But then
or if she became an assassin or whatever. Right, like, Dad. Yeah. She goes, "Oh, don't kill my dad. All right, kill my dad. Oh, I wish you hadn't killed my dad.
Now I'm going to kill you."
Yeah. Like, oh, God.
I've been trying to eradicate violence. Now I want to be violent.
Yeah. Really bizarre.
So do you agree with my idea that he should have just killed Sophia?
I guess so. I mean,
then
like,
we wouldn't have to have a sequel.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah, because like you say, like even if he'd killed her in the lobby, the security's so lax, no one's gonna notice anyway.
She could have been like screaming for help and just been ignored.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any more thoughts?
Yeah, I got one.
Go on.
So the apple of Eden. Right. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That's the MacGuffin in the film, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you're a group of people who are sworn to protect this apple,
yeah,
right, and you, to the extent that you've signed your lives away in order to serve as protectors of it, don't just give it to someone who's got like a family and loads of stuff to lose.
Yeah.
To look after it. Yeah. Like they've literally got. I mean, you see at the start, there's literally dozens and dozens of them.
Yeah.
Who just like they're like monks. You know, they've sworn themselves to a life of piety, where they're just dedicating themselves to stopping the Templars getting hold of this thing. Any of you want to take it? No, let's just give it to that, matey who's got a son, ripe kidnapping age.
Yeah.
Let's give it to him.
You sure?
Because he's gonna. Yeah.
He's the guy.
He'll look after it.
I mean, I don't have any friends or family or children.
No.
I could happily.
Let's give it to the Sultan. Let's give it to the man who's got literally everything to lose.
I'll tell you what. I'll swim it out to the middle of the ocean. I'll kill myself and just drop it at the bottom of the sea.
Nah, let's put it in a box and give it to the Sultan, and then make sure his son is as unguarded as possible, please. He's ripe for blackmail, and
yeah, he is.
As it proves,
like say everything to lose.
Yeah. Whereas they're literally a society of people who have given up their lives for this one specific purpose. They just abandon it until it's all too late, and they go, "Oh shit, we're gonna have to like kill half of Madrid in order to get it back."
It's not good, is it?
No, it's not good. No.
Not a good way to carry on.
Basically, just maybe just pass it around amongst yourselves, keep it somewhere secret, bury it, put it out to sea, as you say. Why? Like, just destroy it. You don't need it.
Yeah, like, chuck it out in the sea. Like,
yeah,
that's my. That's not one of my survival tips, but it is kind of one of mine.
Yeah.
Just
get rid.
You've got trebuchets.
Yeah.
It's Crusades. Just fire it into the ocean.
Yeah.
No one's gonna find it.
Yeah. They go, "Where is it?" Like, I literally couldn't tell you. Yeah. Even if you want. Like, I fired it like hundreds of meters out into sea.
Yeah. You're welcome to dredge up the entire Mediterranean.
Yeah, exactly.
You won't find it.
Yeah. What's your final how to survive tip?
Basically, if I wanted you to do something, Chris.
Yeah.
Well, put it this way, right? You come into my house. I've invited you around, and you get there, and I'm looking a little bit worried. And I say to you, your blood is not your own.
Yeah.
They have found us.
Yeah.
Live in the shadows. Would you know what to do?
Yeah, so immediately get on the roof.
Yeah.
And then run in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Across a desert away from paramilitaries in vehicles.
And helicopters.
Yes.
What? That doesn't mean anything. If his dad had gone, "Look, here's the story. Men are coming here to kill us.
Yeah.
Get away and save yourself."
Yeah.
That would make more sense than saying...
They're so bad that your mother wanted me to kill her rather than fall into their hands.
Yeah, so go and save yourself. He probably would resolve himself to like forgiving his father a lot earlier than if his dad said to him, "Your blood is not your own.
Yeah.
They have found us live in the shadows."
Yeah.
It's not. It's not like that's a deep thing to say. It's It's meaningless.
Yeah.
Absolutely like cringeworthy, faux, archaic thing.
Like, because there's no suggestion that the assassins have like a great tradition of like bloodlines being observed.
No.
Like it's the animus that is the thing that, you know, explores their bloodlines.
Exactly, yeah.
And they see it as something that's really bad. So like the whole "your blood is not your own," because that sounds like an assassin motto. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, everything is permitted. Our blood is not our own. Whatever. But it's like you say, it just doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, because I could train to be an assassin today.
Yeah.
And my son doesn't have to do it.
Yeah.
It's meaningless.
But like it also, your blood is not your own. It doesn't necessarily mean it's assassin blood. It could be like fucking milliner blood or whatever.
Yeah, but that doesn't. It's meaningless.
It just doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's an idiom.
What's your survival tip?
Just be more specific.
Yeah. So what would you said?
There's men coming here to kill us. Get out of here. Go somewhere safe. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm probably not going to make it out. So just go to.
Although that said, he does survive. So.
Yeah. Like it would have been. We say optimal survival. You'd survive better with more clear information. He does get murdered, right? He does get killed by the state for murdering someone.
Yes.
And he wouldn't have done that if he'd had a better, like, moral compass.
Yeah.
He's obviously resentful.
Mm.
That's what's driven him to this. He's acting out because his dad let him down.
Yeah.
His dad wouldn't have let him down if he hadn't said some gobbledygook.
Yeah.
From a fucking.
Your blood is not your own.
Yeah. From like a fucking Lord of the Rings book.
Yeah.
Which means nothing.
Yeah. That's a fair comment. Yeah. Like, rather than your blood is not your own, it's like, there are men coming here to kill us. Mm. Live a wholesome life.
Yeah, don't kill anyone.
Yeah, don't be a murderer.
Yeah.
Or a criminal. Goodbye. I love you.
Wouldn't it be better if you're an assassin to be like plainclothes and not walk around in a fucking robe?
No, because nothing is true and everything is permitted, Joe.
Do you know what? It's like I feel the same way about this as I do about steampunk. Right. It is meant to be cringe.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, because it's not like you're going, oh, I really like Victorian clothes. You're like, oh, look, this is like, imagine if Victorians wore.
Imagine Victorian clothes, but everything's got cogs on it.
Yeah.
And pipes.
It's just like,
yeah.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Probably. I imagine most of our listeners probably fucking steampunk enthusiasts.
Yeah, that's true. If you like steampunk and steampunk things, then listen to our new podcast, The Steampunk Chronicles, with me, Christopher Morris, and Joe Steamy Shovel.
The locomotive shovel.
Yeah. But if you've got any thoughts on steampunk or our podcast or any of the films that we cover, email address as ever is howtosurviveshow@gmail.com. Twitter is @howtosurvivepod. What have we got next week, Joe?
Next week is a film we missed last year on its first round, and that's Lights Out.
Well, even though 2017's offerings so far, Joe, have been so good, we're just dipping back into 2016.
Let's recap what we've got. Event Horizon we've had.
Yeah.
Passengers. Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Didn't mention last week with Passengers, by the way, that we had 2 films in a row about stranded spaceships where Lawrence Fishburne is the senior crew member.
Yeah.
Weird, isn't it? 20 years apart they were made. His career is really
stagnated.
Yeah.
It's adrift in space.
It's in hibernation.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you've got any thoughts, if you've seen Lights Out, it's been out for a while, let us know how you're surviving it. Probably turn the lights on, I'd imagine.
Ah, nice one. And hopefully I will be back to my normal self by then.
Yeah, here's hoping.
Yeah.
You got that larynx transplant.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah.
That should sort you out.
Getting rid of the pesky Adam's apple.
Yeah. Keep catching on things, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
If you've enjoyed what you've heard, leave us a review on iTunes or MeTunes or whatever podcast app you use. And of course, if you've got any friends who you think would enjoy our podcast and listening to us talk about how we survive movies, then be sure to share it with them as well. The more the merrier. And I've noticed, Chris, a few people have started working their way through our back catalogue and watching every movie we've covered.
Yeah, the absolute madmen.
Yeah.
And women.
Yeah. And they're tweeting us at HowToSurvivePod as they go and letting us know what they think. And it does seem that they're tortured souls.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they certainly will be once they've finished with all the films that we've covered.
Yeah.
Jeez.
There's some stinkers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck to you on your journey.
Yeah.
And remember, nothing is true. Everything is permitted.